Greetings, dear friends. Today in our issue you will see the following events. An explosion at an oil well in the United States, which led to an oil spill over the territory. Flooding in South Africa. The neighborhood of Cape Town was underwater. Flood in Thailand. The capital city of Bangkok was flooded. Tragedy in Guatemala. A landslide covered people alive. Archaeological discoveries in South America. Found ancient cities where people used and poisoned with mercury. Amazing case of a walrus that attacked a boat with tourists to protect her cub. Get ready, a fascinating journey through the most relevant events awaits you. Let's get started. The events that took place in the small town of North Edmonton in the United States have caused serious alarm in the local authorities and among the residents. The oil spill from a broken pipeline was a challenge that the town had to respond to quickly. According to representatives of the company responsible for the pipeline, the incident was caused by a breach that spilled more than 160,000 gallons of crude oil. This is a significant amount of crude that is causing irreparable damage to the environment and the health of residents. It is estimated that the cleanup of this emergency incident will require more than $100,000, and this is just the beginning. North Edmonton authorities have taken steps to alert the public to the situation by activating the public address system. Despite this, however, police officials report that the North Edmonton Police Department has been receiving hundreds of calls from concerned residents ready to provide assistance and information about the current situation. As luck would have it, environmental experts from the Environmental Protection Agency are already on the scene and are monitoring air quality. At the moment, no worsening of the situation has been registered, but the monitoring process will continue. According to preliminary information, the pipeline rupture was caused by a collision with a bulldozer. The detailed circumstances of the incident are still being clarified and the investigation is underway by the competent authorities. South Africa experienced catastrophic flooding caused by intense rainfall and strong hurricane-force winds. The city of Cape Town was severely flooded. Several neighborhoods suffered power outages, and fallen trees and destroyed homes were reported. In the Stellenbosch region, one of the country's largest wine-growing areas, rainfall reached 194 millimeters, while 134 millimeters of rain fell in Jonkershoek. According to the latest reports, 8 people have fallen victim to this bad weather. For those left without shelter, emergency evacuations to safe areas have begun. Many roads were blocked due to fallen trees, temporarily bringing traffic to a standstill in some areas. Meteorologists say this is the worst flooding in South Africa in a century. Local authorities warned citizens about the upcoming heavy rains and the possibility of severe flooding, but unfortunately, the precautions failed to prevent widespread destruction. Emergency services are now urging locals to be vigilant and pay attention to messages from rescuers. The bad weather could linger in the region until the end of the week. Thailand also faced heavy rainfall. In 6 hours, 120 millimeters of rain fell in Phrakanong district. Roads have turned into a veritable sea, causing serious problems for traffic, with people having to literally wade through the water. Waterlogging of the basements of buildings has become a problem and some areas are also without electricity. The city's sewage systems are struggling with excessive amounts of water. There is no information on injuries or fatalities at this time. Heavy rains are expected to continue in the region until at least midweek, affecting about 80% of all cities. Tourists are urged to refrain from swimming in the stormy sea and boat owners are advised to stay ashore, given that waves can reach up to 2 meters high. At the time, a landslide occurred in Guatemala, causing severe destruction and loss of life. According to the latest data, 6 people were victims of the disaster, and 13 others were missing. The streams of earth left nothing in their path, houses were destroyed, trees were ripped out, and cars were carried away. The situation in the capital of Guatemala City, also named Guatemala City, is horrifying. The community leader, Isa Gonzalez, emphasized that the destroyed areas were mostly inhabited by the poorest segments of the population, who find it hard to survive even on ordinary days. The emergency services have now intensified search and rescue operations. The authorities have assured that they will make all possible efforts to quickly restore the flood-affected areas. However, the duration of the recovery process remains unclear. Local residents are urged to keep a vigilant eye on the situation and prepare to evacuate to safer areas if necessary. Mayan settlements have been severely contaminated with mercury, which was discovered by a research team of scientists investigating lowland areas in Guatemala, Belize, Yucatan and Mexico, El Salvador and Honduras. Metal contamination was found almost everywhere, and it was discovered that the Maya often used mercury for decorative and ceremonial purposes. This toxic metal leached from patios, floors, walls and pottery, then spread into the soil and water. According to Mayan beliefs, surrounding objects contained psychic power, which they associated with blood, making the bright red vermilion pigment a sacred substance. Unfortunately, at the time, the Maya were unaware of the deadly effects of this practice, and its effects remained on the environment for years to come. Today, archaeologists continue to study the areas where the Maya lived, but the soil poisoning in some of them is so severe that experts are taking precautions to preserve health. What you wouldn't expect unpleasant surprises from, at first glance, are the attractive walruses. Ostensibly, these funny creatures seem to be safe for humans. But here's something different comes out. An aggressive walrus kicked out Russian tourists, and she did it with such aggressiveness that she even punctured their boat. It's worth noting that next to the walrus was her cub. Perhaps the mother mistook the boat as a threat and started defending her territory. Friends, what are your personal thoughts on the oil spill in the US? This is not the first time that human activity has damaged the whole of nature. Such examples can be found all over the world, including in America and Russia. What, in your opinion, is at the heart of such events? Negligence, maliciousness, or indifference to our planet, when the main thing is profit, and everything else is not important? Have you noticed that the number of floods on the planet is increasing, even taking into account seasonal patterns? Please share your views in the comments. May you and your families be at peace and well, and of course, remember to preserve our common home, our planet. May we always remain human beings with a capital letter.